first thing first, we're working on the 2015 Toyota Corolla here, doing a starter on it. Make sure you unhook your positive battery terminal or you will get shocked. And shut down there, I just put the new one in. Stay tuned and I'll show you the clip where it's showing you how to get it out. Alright, so today we're working on Toyota, and it's the Corolla. And we got a new starter that we was going to be putting on because we tried starting it last night and it was just ticking. So I'm going to show y'all about the easiest way to do this without taking apart half the motor like all the rest of these YouTubers are showing everybody. So essentially, this wire right here, if it'll ever focus, this wire right here hooks on right there, hooks on right there, and you got a little nut behind it. It's a 12mm. Then I just unplugged the little sensor wire that plugs right into the bottom of it right there. So once you get that done, you can take your bolts out. You've got one right there, it's a 14mm. Then you got one, you can just take your hand like this right here down to the bottom side of this starter, because the starter is literally right here. You find that nut, that little bolt right there. You basically just, basically just see your little air intake right there. Follow it down to that bolt, and then you can actually see it wiggling around because I've loosened it up already. You just take your hand underneath it, right there on the bottom side of the starter, and the other little bolt hole is right there. So you'll have a bolt that feeds through, instead of coming off the back side of the transmission, you'll have it feeding through on this side. Basically on the front side of the transmission, if you want to call it that. So you got your first bolt going through right there because it's sitting just like this down there. So what happens is you got your first bolt right here that feeds through the back, which is that one right down there, that one right there. That one feeds into the back, and then you got one, like I said, you take your hand, feed it underneath it, and you're gonna see this other bolt on the bottom side. They're both 14mm. It's feeding through this way instead of going through the back side. And that's all you have to do. You just take those two off, take the wire, little wire harness looking thing off of here, and then you take the little plug out on the back side right there. And that's all you got to do. And installing it's the same way. You just take it, twist it, and finagle it down in there. Put your bolts back. Okay, so once you get everything loose, you kind of just sitting here. So what you want to do is, what I did without taking all these hoses off, if you're worried about busting up your hoses, you might want to take them off. But with it being 2015, you're good. Should be. So, see how it's hitting this hose right here? I just slid this hose out of the way. Just like, this is really hard with one hand. Just like that, and then you just finagle it the rest of the way out, and there's the old starter. Time to put that new one back in. So getting it back on can be a little bit difficult, so can be, but once you finagle it down in there, it's down in there. I started my top bolt first. You can see where it's real loose in there. I just started it to line everything up. You don't want to jam everything and then tighten one bolt all the way down, because you might be a little cockeyed. So once you put it all in there, then you can get that bottom bolt started. Just take your hand, like I said, go through here, right there on the bottom side of this starter, where my finger's bouncing around at. You don't have to take all that crap out on the bottom. You don't have to take all this stuff out on the top, and you'll be good to go. So once you get your battery terminal put back on, you just want to pop this little cap back on them little nipples right there, and then you'll be good to go.